Yeah, I mean, Steinbach's a unbelievable basketball player, and the fact that he's putting up the type of numbers that he is as a freshman in this league, and you look at his numbers, they've gone up against Big Ten competition, where he's averaging a double-double, over 20 points and over 10 rebounds. He's so impressive. He can score it from all over the floor. Great length, great touch, big hands. And he's just got a nose for the ball, going after and getting it. So, they've got unbelievable length, a very good offensive rebounding team. And they got a lot of talent out there. So, this is something we got to be on point right from the beginning. I thought we got beat up a little bit physically in the first half of our last game and did a much better job in the second half. We can't have lapses like that against a team that has this type of physicality. So, expecting a battle tomorrow, and again, getting off to fast starts is very important in this league.
A stretch like this, where you've got a run of kind of 2 and 3 day preps, condensed time between games, how do you handle that long term, throughout these 2 or 3 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, we went a little bit shorter today than we normally would, just because of the 3 games and whatever it is, 7-day stretch that we have going on right now, especially with an early one coming up on Saturday. I mean, it's still all about the preparation for the one tomorrow night, but at the same time, you have to have, and that's the benefit of having a great staff like we have, as far as our sports science, our training staff with Kurt in strength conditioning. I think you see our guys, how well they've played late in games, and I think that's a credit to our support staff. So, we plan out, we have a meeting as far as what we want to do as far as loads on their bodies, and we follow it to a T. When they get close to where they want to be, our sports scientist, Matt Tomey, comes up and says we need to get ready to start shutting it down, and we'll do more mental reps if we haven't gotten through everything as far as the game plan. And, I'm such a firm believer in our guys being fresh out there on the floor, both mentally and physically, and our guys have been good. They've had a good couple days of practice. Yesterday was great. After a day off, we had to jump them a little bit today, but, again, for a mature group that's done an unbelievable job of turning the page after some pretty darn emotional wins. It's been a good group to where you don't have to do that a lot, is light a fire under them, and that's a huge benefit to us as a coaching staff.
How do you manage keeping guys fresh but also play 7, 8 rotations?
Say that again, Amy.
How do you manage keeping guys fresh but also having like a shorter rotation?
Yeah, and that just goes to our recoveries. I don't know if there's a lot of teams that take cold tubs on the road with them, but we have portable cold tubs that we get the guys in. We're generally in the arena for an hour minimum after the game before we get on the bus, and the recoveries after the game at home. Our guys are doing the cold tubs. They're doing their stretching, their modalities, all the things that they have to do to make sure that they recover properly. So that's a big part of it. And then just the weekly meetings we have with them about resting, and we're getting close to the halfway point of the season. After this stretch coming up here, we will be halfway done. So next week, this is another important one for us. We're fighting like hell to stay where we are, and a big part of that is recovering properly and winning the off days. That's another thing we really, really stress to our guys is, the massages, the nutrition, the rest. So, it's an important part of it. And, these guys, listen, Rink never wants to be out of rep in practice. I have to yank him off the floor and, to make sure he's fresh for the games. But, I talked about this after Northwestern and after Oregon. To have Rink play under 20 minutes, that's big for him long term. And but at the same time, he wants to be out there on the floor, and physically he can. We're just doing this for strictly precautionary reasons. But he's in great shape right now. I saw some people questioning what's going on. Nothing's wrong with him. He's doing awesome. And we just were at a point where we had a run going with a group that was out there, and that's what I stuck with. And that's how I've always done it. Is the group that's got it rolling. Those are the guys that are going to be on the floor, and it just happened to be without Rink on the floor, which is pretty rare. Rink's been a part of big runs for us. He's played major minutes, and his body is set up for that. That speaks to the discipline of Rink and the maturity of Rink and everything that he's all about. So, it's nice when we can get him a little bit of an extended rest.
You talked about Sam's rebounding after the game on Saturday. Is that a mindset that you think just over all these years, or something that's just developed?
He just has a nose for the ball. You can't tell a guy to go be a good rebounder. You either have it or you don't. A lot of times, you can try to make him tougher. You do rebounding war drills out there, but for Sam, he just has a nose for the ball, and I think you see that leading defensive rebounder on our team at whatever he is, 5'11", and leading steal guy in the conference. So I think that just speaks to who he is. Dennis Rodman wasn't a great rebounder because he was bigger and more athletic than everybody. He just went and got it. Barkley, you look at all the great ones, they just have it. They have a nose for the ball, and then some guys, you try everything you can to get him to go get it and be a better rebounder and fetch it, and they just, for whatever reason, don't have it. But, yeah, Sam, he just has a knack for the ball on that end. And I was a pretty damn good rebounder, too, just so you know, Justin, on the defensive end.
You're ranked number 7 AP poll this week. This is the first time you guys ever been in the top 7, number 7 here. Just as a leader of the program, what does that mean for you and what this could mean for the program moving forward?
It's nice for our guys to get some recognition for what they've accomplished. I've said that they should enjoy the ride and everything that they've got going on right now. But again, you talk to them every day about putting up their walls, putting up their barriers, and not feeding into all the things that are being said. And you see it the other way. A team that's won 16, 17 straight and they lose 2 in a row. They're a poor basketball team. They're frauds, all that. Whatever direction the thing is going, you can't listen to it. You just got to continue to focus. And that's what I give our guys all the credit in the world, is how they bounce back after huge wins, whatever it is, the 1A, I don't get all that stuff, but, you've got those big wins against major programs, and then you find a way to regroup and get back to work and focus on the next opportunity. So that, as much as anything we've got going on this season, that's what I give our guys the most credit for, is how they've been able to flip the script and turn the page and move on to the next opponent.
There's some people that think that 7 is too low, and that projected as 2 or 3 seed is too low for an undefeated team in the Big Ten. Do you use that as any source of motivation, or is that
Not really, Robin. I mean, listen, that stuff will all work itself out at the end of the year. It's fun, I think, for your fans and all that stuff, but for us, it doesn't matter. I mean, we'll see where we are at the end of the season. What's our last game, Seamus? What day? March 6th, whatever it is. But that we'll worry about it then.
How does the dynamic of this Washington team change without Claude?
Yeah, I mean, Claude, he's a very dynamic guard, but so is Diallo, and they've got a lot of players that they get downhill. They got players that can make shots, and their bigs are huge and physical. And Steinbach's one of the more unique players, not only in the league but in the country. So listen, this is a good team, very well coached. I think the world of Donnie and everything that he's got going. So we just got to go out there and be at our best for 40 minutes to have a chance. That's what we've done so far in this league, and we're going to have to continue on with that.
This group has shown they can extend leads with running down the bench. How much confidence does that give you come March when things get dicey with foul trouble and there's not going to be
Yeah, it's nice to be able to go out there and have different lineups, different combinations that that we can see how they work together. We've got a lot of data now with 2, 3, 4, 5-man lineups, and you just try to put the best group out there that's giving you the best minutes. And we've had different groups that have done it all year long, and that's again the sign, I think, of a true team and what this group is all about. Jared, to me, was the key to the Illinois win. Jamarcus hits the shot at the end, but those 5 minutes at the end of the game he gave us were as important as a stretch as we had, and you could argue that was our best win of the season. So we've had different guys that have stepped up at different times, and we're gonna need that to continue. You never know what's going to happen over the course of a 40-minute game or over the course of the rest of the season. Guys have to be ready when their name's called.
How do you balance the data versus just like feel and flow of the game?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think, the data, it's a piece, and you look at it, but, to me, the flow of the game will dictate who's going to be out there. And sometimes you look at it after, and I can't believe that guy was a minus, 8, and you win the game by, 8 points. But, yeah, a lot of it, to me, is the flow of the game, and that's really how I've always done it.
Hoiberg hasn't scored a double figures since December, and you were just talking about how finding the right lineups, the way guys can produce for your team. What can you say about maybe he's almost more valuable now than back then, and the way he's been able to produce for you in so many different ways?
Yeah, I said this after the Northwestern game the other day. I thought BK was the key to that entire shift in the second half when we got it going because of his defense. And that one possession where he blocked the shot and then he gets on the floor and gets the jump ball. He and Sam had the double team down there in the baseline. That was such a huge possession. And he just made plays like that for really the entire, whatever it was, 12, 13 minutes of the game. And, he deserved to be out there. And, he started off the game hitting a shot for us, a little mid-range when they were front and rink. And, he's shooting the ball much better. He hasn't taken a lot of them. His volume hasn't been high, but he's shooting the ball with a lot more confidence right now. So as teams continue to play off of him, there's no doubt in my mind he's going to have a 3, 4, 5 3-point performance just because of the way teams are defending him right now.
Coach, I know that this is your primary focus with this year's team in this sport, but when you see what Indiana football did, does that provide inspiration for you personally, or are you looking at it like, oh man, that's tough to live up to?
I'll say this. We were in Bloomington the day that they won the semifinal game, and it just in complete domination, the way that they controlled that from start to finish. And I've got so much respect for Kurt and everything that he did for that program to get it turned the way he did in 2 years. It's just incredible what he was able to accomplish. And, to provide motivation, I don't know. It's great to see a team that's never done it, have the type of success that they did. It's awesome for the league. I said that next morning after we finished the Indiana game. Congratulated them on their performance and wished them all the best on winning the national championship. And then they go out and do it. And yeah, he's unbelievable. I just think he's he's so motivating for those teams. They execute, they're disciplined, they're physical. It's just it was fun to watch that ride. So can we take something out of it? I don't know. It's obviously we're using a little bit more of a round ball than they do, but it's motivating for sure.
Yes, Coach.
Thanks, guys.